Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Amit Harari, and coming up in today's newscast. After late night passing a first reading of flagship judicial overhaul legislation, no signs of negotiations in sight. Meantime, MKs from both coalition and opposition meeting with President of Ukraine, sending a clear and united message from Israel. And the popular American rock band will be performing in Israel this summer, joining a few other international artists, already confirming their arrival. We're opening with a developing story. 10 terrorists killed today during an operation by Israeli security forces in the Kasbah of Nablus to arrest 3 wanted terrorists from the Lions Den terror organization from the squad killing IDF soldier Ido Baruch. Palestinians reporting 97 wounded at various levels. Meanwhile, no casualties reported among our forces. The forces surrounded the house during which a suspect being identified while trying to escape from the apartment. According to Palestinian reports, the wanted terrorists, Mohammed Abu Bakr and Hassan al-Salam, texted their relatives informing them that they're ready to die as shaheeds and just not to fall into the hands of Zionists. As mentioned, 3 of the terrorists are suspected of being involved in the attack during which IDF soldier Ido Baruch was killed, and other attacks that were carried out recently against our forces operating in Judea and Samaria, and in planning and intending to launch shooting attacks in the immediate time frame. The forces carrying out searches in the building the terrorists were staying, finding weapons and ammunition. Yes, and it's breaking news, and joining us now for very first details is expert in international relations and communications, Colonel Reserves Olivierrafovich. Olivier, thank you for joining in such a short notice. What are the details of this story? Please break it down for us.
Good afternoon. It's a very serious, very big operation by the Israeli forces, Army, Shin Bet, and also the Special Commando police forces in Nablus. Just mentioned in the Kasbah of Nablus, which is the old city of Nablus. Around now, 10 terrorist armed people have been killed, and maybe 30, 40, maybe more have been wounded by this operation. We talk about the Lion Den, which is actually a group opposed directly to Mahmoud Abbas, to the Palestinian Authority, connected to Islamic Jihad groups. So, as a matter of fact, it is also an operation in order, by the way, to support and to protect Mahmoud Abbas from Islamist group, which actually try to penetrate, to infiltrate, and to replace the PA by Islamic groups. What we can now say at this moment is that we can expect reactions, maybe from the Gaza Strip, from Islamic Jihad groups or Hamas, as reprisals. So all the country right now is actually in alert, because it's a possibility that we are going to meet reactions from Islamic groups.
Now, as you mentioned, so many dead and injured Palestinians reported. Are we likely to see a response from Gaza soon? I mean, what response, what's expected to happen? The coming days, the coming hours?
I would like to be, I would say, cautious, because as you know, the last year there was an operation against Islamic Jihad that has been almost totally destroyed by the Israeli army. They will take a big risk if now they will launch an operation against Israel. Hamas was outside the game the last time. We hope that this time also, if there is something from Islamic Jihad, they will remain out of the game. For the time being, we can say that we are facing a global, I would say, intensity of willingness of reaction. But we can say that at the moment that the state of Israel is ready to react, and we hope that they will be deterred by what they could expect. If they launch something, the reaction will be more than tough against them.
Olivier, Israel was going after some very serious terrorist targets. They were reportedly captured or neutralized. How much of important figures are they really, the ones they captured, the ones that were killed today?
let's be frank. I mean, no one is serious, but everybody is a criminal. Everybody is a murderer. And these young terrorists were actually, all of them, involved in criminal and in crime against Israel. Several of them were directly involved in the killing of Israeli soldiers. So it's also a reaction by the Israeli army to find them one by one and to arrest them. If we could not arrest them, so we tried to arrest them, they refused to be arrested. They said that that they prefer to die as shaheed. So they died because they refused to be arrested. And for Israel, there is no compromise. We'll continue to look for them one by one, to arrest them, and if not, to eliminate them.
Yes, we all heard these terrible sayings. Now, the IDF operations in Judea and Samaria have been ongoing for several months now, yet the security situation doesn't really seem to be improving. Is there any solution in sight?
There is no solution when people are taking weapons and try to kill Israeli women, kids. In Judea and Samaria, in Israel, we don't hear any voice of peaceful I would say, way. So, as a matter of fact, when they are choosing the terrorist and the military path, we have to, there is no other option, to fight back. And I want to make it clear, as an Israeli citizen, as an Israeli officer, reserve officer, in Israel, I mean, we can have argument, we can discuss many political issues, but we think that we agree on it, all of us. We cannot compromise on Israeli security, and the Palestinian terrorist groups must understand that the democratic issues in Israel will not affect in any sense, in any case, the willingness of Israel to defend and to protect the citizens and to fight like today. This daily operation in Nablus is a proof that we continue to fight terrorism and will go very far if there is a need to, because we need to protect our citizens.
Olivier, we'll definitely keep following up on this story. Thank you so much for joining us in such a short notice.
Thanks to you.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu literally stood up to the opposition today with a challenge that they enter a dialogue on judicial reform. Netanyahu did not order a halt, a judicial overhaul currently moving forward in the Knesset. Opposition leader Yair Lapid rejected Netanyahu's offer, calling it lies and spin. ILTV Steve Leibovich reports.
After weeks of near silence on the issue of planned judicial reform, Prime Minister Netanyahu released a one-minute video calling for the opposition to enter dialogue without preconditions. The Prime Minister spoke with concern about the divisions in Israeli society after 8 weeks of mass protests. Netanyahu started by saying this.
אזרחי ישראל, זה הזמן לדבר. אני שומע את הקולות בעם. אני שומע את אלה שמברכים, ואני שומע גם את אלה שחוששים. וכשיש חילוקי דעות בינינו, אפשר וצריך לדבר כדי להגיע להסכמות, או לפחות לצמצם את אי-הסכמות בינינו. זה בידינו. אני מאמין שאנחנו יכולים לעשות זאת, אבל זה דורש מכולם דבר אחד בסיסי. זה דורש מנהיגות, זה דורש אחריות לאומית.
Netanyahu blamed his rivals for the lack of negotiations. At the end of a social media post, Netanyahu got up from his seat to illustrate his point.
אני מחויב לתת את כל הגיבוי והתמיכה שנדרשים כדי להוביל להסכמות. אבל לשם כך צריך לקום ולדבר. ולצערי, עד לרגע זה, בצד השני, אף אחד לא קם. אז אני קם, ואני קורא מכאן, בואו נדבר כאן ועכשיו, בלי תנאים מוקדמים, בלי תירוצים, כדי שיחד נשיג הסכמה רחבה לטובת כל אזרחי ישראל, לטובת המדינה של כולנו.
Firing back at Netanyahu, opposition leader Yair Lapid accused the prime minister of lies and spin, insisting that the opposition has tried for long weeks to hold discussions with the coalition, who just move on with their plans. And indeed, despite his calls for dialogue without precondition, Netanyahu has not ordered even a brief pause in the legislative process. Justice Minister Yariv Levin continues to insist that there will be no major changes to his proposals and claimed that masses of people have waited decades for this change to occur. Levin added, we will press on with determination to complete the reforms. True to his word, Levin will today present additional parts of the proposed judicial overhaul for a first reading. Netanyahu has not signaled that he should slow down.